Evening, everybody. This is the monthly Board of Directors meeting of the Winston-Salem sister cities. Welcome. Glad to see everybody's here and healthy and doing well. As we're opening up, we do have folks that are joining us still. So if you don't mind, I'll just read off a couple notices or things that we've run across. The Reverend sent me Reverend Hatchell sent me a note that due to his workload at the church, that he said he could no longer give us any time because things have gotten very, very tight for him, so that he's going to be having to leave the group. He said he didn't want to, but that's just the way things are right now. So I thought I'd let everybody know that. The other quick announcement, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just back away from that and we'll start the meeting. I'm going to ask Michael Robinson. Michael, if you would kind of give us just a brief overview of the financial items for us, and then we'll start from there.
Sure. This is as of January 31st. In savings, we have $60.01, and in checking, we have $288.05.
Okay.
That's it.
And that's including everything we sent to the Bahamas.
Yes, that already went. Yep.
Good. Because we got two members that were not at our committee meeting, would you also just give a very brief overview of what we talked about in our committee meeting, and then I'll kick in and we'll go through the different subjects and everything.
We looked at the bylaws basically, and looked at the term limits and who the officers are or should be. And we actually have some bylaws that were updated. I think it's around 2017, and that was back when Sean and Katia were on the board. I think I sent something out, but it wasn't the most updated. But we had gone through and changed some of the language as far as aldermen and made that city council and so forth. But we were sort of evaluating the term limits. That was the big thing that we, how long each person can serve, and how we would go about updating the bylaws if we, there was a suggestion that we add a position, and how could we go about doing that. But it has to be ratified, but it is possible to change the bylaws. But that was the bulk of it, I believe. Is that what you were looking for, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Why we brought all this up was I had discussed with the board. I've been around here quite some time, not as long as Dr. Ed, but I've been around here quite some time, and thought maybe that some new blood might be well worth it, and not that I would step away from sister cities, but that maybe I'd take a different position, let somebody else come in and maybe switch positions around so that everybody gets a chance to be in leadership, and everybody gets a chance to, give and show different ways that we can accomplish our goals. We are citizen diplomacy. Our main goal is to create a relationship between Winston-Salem and our cities around the world, of which we have Nassau and Grand Bahamas. We have Yangpu District in Shanghai, China. We have Kumasi, Ghana. We have Ngum, Moldova. We have Buchanan City, Liberia. Have I left anything out? as we get more and more sister cities, it's getting a little harder to recognize who's who. And as I was sharing a little bit before the meeting, we have a gentleman, Lucian How New, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from Benin, Africa, a city called Porto Novo, has contacted me and has asked if they could seek to become a new sister city with Winston-Salem. Mayor Joines had sent it to me. I've asked the gentleman if he would give us kind of a bullet point overview of the city, who they are, where they are, population, different things about their their city. And he's also shared with me that the U.S. ambassador to that area has already said that they would love to have that city become a sister city with Winston-Salem. And also the mayor of the city has joined with him. Mayor Joines, I told Mayor Joines that we would meet with our board and talk about it and get more information about it, and then get back to him so that to let him know what we had come up with. As I shared with him, it's nice to have a lot of sister cities, but we want to make sure that they don't just get lost, that we're able to take care of them. And that's part of what we wanted to talk about this evening.
Dave. Dave.
1 second. Whoops, wait a second. We'll be back with you in 10 seconds. Here we go. So what I'd like to do is start off with our agenda and kind of keep on point. And one thing we discussed about in our committee meeting is that when it's 7 o'clock, we will close the meeting so that we don't, we know your time is precious and we don't want to make it so that people can't attend the meeting because it's running over. The first thing that we talked about that we wanted to bring up to the group was talking about sister schools and connecting schools in the Winston-Salem area, whether they be elementary or high school or colleges at whatever level, with schools in our sister city area. And this came up because of the African Computer Initiative, where U.S. sister cities assist with funding computers and internet access to sister cities, especially in Africa. And I've asked Michael Robertson, because he's been attending the Zoom meetings throughout North Carolina on these, and actually all over the world on these specific topics. I've asked Michael if he could kind of go into detail of what's involved and what would we be doing. Michael?
Okay, so the sister schools came about sort of because of the pandemic. Some of the things like the Youth Leadership Summit and the, to some degree, the Young Artist and Author Showcase, but I think there are other places that have students coming over and they weren't able to do that. So there's something in Sister Cities International that's called the Global Awareness Team. And I'll read you what they basically said. Student exchanges, summer study abroad, athletic competitions, and cultural cooperation have long served as the backbone of the youth programming at the local level, while Sister Cities International programming has long provided programs such as Young Artists and Authors Showcase and opportunities for leadership development, such as the annual Youth Leadership Summit. However, the limits on in-person exchanges necessitated by the pandemic have stimulated exciting and innovative youth programming with more on the SCI horizon. The Investing in the Future webinar is an opportunity to showcase some of these imaginative programs and stimulate interest in building new and inclusive whole school programming to promote the development of a more diverse generation of citizen diplomats. And there's actually a meeting tomorrow to go into more detail about it. But basically what Sister Schools does, it's sort of it's school to school driven. And supposedly there are already computers in place, or there should be computers in place in the US cities. And there's placement of computer labs in sister cities locations. And there's just a desire to have these schools collaborate with each other. And similar to that is what Dave talked about, the West African Computer Initiative. And that's more connecting one sister city with another sister city and building computer labs in those sister cities in West Africa, sort of to bridge the digital divide that exists. And a lot of the part of what's going on is that, you know, like we have Kumasi as a sister city, Newark also as a sister city of Kumasi, and Charlotte as a sister city of Kumasi. And so the thinking was that, you know, if there are major cities in Ghana that have multiple U.S. cities, those U.S. sister cities can create some joint partnerships to work together to get computer labs in place. And that's being fleshed out a little bit more as well. But one of the main things is participating in that sister school presentation tomorrow, discussing with the local Ghana sister cities. And there's a Ghana rep, Prince Kwame, who Dave and I think Wendy and I are familiar with, but he would identify the locations in Ghana and West Africa where there would be a need. But since we already have a relationship with Kumasi, that might be a little bit easier. And then there's also a resource development workshop. And the United Way in Ghana has pledged to work with us, but part of it is generating some funds on this end to be able to connect or build those computer labs. But a lot of this is still in the preliminary stages, and I can get you more information, but I'll definitely send out the announcement for the meeting tomorrow. There's a meeting tomorrow, the 24th at 4 o'clock, about the Sister Schools initiative. And I'm going to be on the call, but I'll send it out to other people, and I'll get more information from that as well. But those are two of the major things that have been discussed.
Okay. It's a Zoom meeting, Michael?
Yes, it's a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I think you have to register via Eventbrite, but it's televised or Zoom.
Now, Michael, I don't know if it's you or David who mentioned the U.S. government. Is the U.S. government playing any role in this? Donating funds towards establishing this?
It's not the government, but the United Way.
United Way. Okay.
They're going to do some things like the labs are just the computers themselves and giving giving access to internet information. It's not live internet connection, but it gives them the ability to have updated information like Wikipedia or encyclopedias and that sort of stuff on the internet. But United Way is matching for some of the things like printers, and if the rooms aren't set up correctly, they might help with that and that sort of thing. But what the sister cities would do is just fund the actual purchase of the computers themselves. There's more that United Way would work on the other end.
Let me throw in a little something. And I'd have to do some research because it's been a few years since I've worked with them. MIT has a program, or they used to have a program, and I worked with them where you could bring different cities, different countries other than here, overseas, and they would donate. They had they weren't the most up-to-date computers, but they would donate these computers to these different countries and different cities. And a lot of them were in Africa at the time. But like I say, it's been oh Lord, about 10 or 12 years since I've worked with them.
Well,
But that might be a source to look at, you know.
Times have changed. Now, in some African countries, you have local people who are assembling computers. They bring in the parts from over the world and assemble these computers in Africa, in Ghana, in Kenya, and I think in Uganda. So for something like this, it would be easier to purchase the computers locally because then it can be serviced there.
And they already have identified an organization to work with that supplies computers. Tuscaloosa, Alabama has actually done this, and it's been like a 3-year initiative that they've done this. But there's an organization in the United States, it's called EVCO, and it's run by a gentleman who is from Ghana. But he refurbishes computers, and he also has people in the field. He refurbishes computers here, but he also has people in Ghana who work on computers, and he gets those computers there, and they distribute them like that. And there's actually a 3-year warranty. I mean, they go out and get specs on the specific room to make sure that the specifications on the computer will work in that particular room. And then they spend time training the technology teachers, and then they come back each year and work on the computers to make sure for 3 years, not every year forever, but for 3 years, they come back and look at the computers and service them and make sure they're still in operating condition. But Tuscaloosa, Alabama has done this program, and it has worked. It's worked for them, and they're pretty pleased with it. And from that is where, this sort of grew.
Well, then if, this could be a project for our African cities, Buchanan City, Kumasi, Ghana, and of course, if we take on the new one that we've been talking about too. So that might be a single project for a couple, 2 or 3 of our sister cities.
But it would give us an opportunity to partner with Charlotte or another location.
Yes. Yeah, because I don't think we're in a position to come up with the funds to do that, so it would be a lot better if we could partner with somebody like that and then see what we can do to help and to do something to get that handled. That could be one project. If you would do me a favor, or do the group a favor, I should say, and do a little more research on that, and then let us know, exactly what we should do or what we would need to do, so that we can get the entire board to take a look at it.
And there's actually a PowerPoint that was put together, and I can send that if that would help. I mean, it might not explain everything, but at least you can sort of see the direction and where the need comes from. So I'll send that.
Perfect.
But Dave, I was also going to suggest that considering that this is a sister city group, and one of our sister cities is in China, Shanghai, there's a lot of exchanges between Shanghai and Ghana. So here's a case where they can also come in and provide assistance or support, in a sense that these days, many of the computer parts or computers or printers do originate from China. So by way of networking or contact building, maybe we can appeal to our sister city, Shanghai, and see how they can also support this effort.
There's also another way in Raleigh. There's a company called Lenovo. Lenovo has one of their headquarters here in Raleigh. Then they build and do computers. And the guy that oversees all of it now, if I'm not mistaken, he came from, oh Lord, we had them here years ago. I think it was Dell. And he was hired by them to run the Lenovo plants up in Raleigh. And that might be a great great way because they are international, and I might be a great person to talk to if Charlotte hasn't already done that. So if you would send the video out for everybody to see and take a look at and get some feedback on it, and then let's see what everybody thinks, and then maybe we can put together start drafting a program and work with either Newark or Charlotte or maybe both of them, you know.
I'm getting ready to send everyone who's on the call today the PowerPoint, and I just sent the invitation for the thing tomorrow to everyone.
Well, if you could send it to everybody, not just if they're on the call, but to everybody. When I sent you a message about the meeting, I've got everybody on there, you know.
Okay.
Good. Now, one of the things we talked about in our meeting last week, and I don't know if everybody was here at the time, but Reverend Haskell has had to bow out of Sister Cities because of his work and some more of the items that have come up with his church, so he doesn't have the time to give us. So we need somebody that would like to help with with Freeport in the Bahamas and Nassau, but we can still go through the church, which we have a relationship with here in Winston-Salem and Nassau and Grand Bahamas. One of the things we talked about, and we were thinking about how we could connect more, I guess, if you will, with all our sister cities, was we were thinking if we had somebody on the board, or because we talked about, you know, you have a chairman, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and not to just create another position, because you would have certain people that would volunteer to work with certain sister cities. But we talked about the possibility of having an international ambassador that would touch base and keep in touch with all of our sister cities. Somebody that either through email or Zoom or whatever, maybe touch base and just, you know, with Yangpu District, China. I just heard the other day from a whole bunch of the folks from the city government in Yangpu District wanting to know how we were doing and were we staying safe. And then we need to stay in touch with Buchanan City, with with like I said, the Grand Bahamas, Moldova. I met a lady in work, and I asked her, I said, gee, I said, where are you from? And she said, well, some city in Moldova. And I said, oh, I said, well, gee whiz. I said, I belong to Sister Cities in Winston-Salem. She says, oh, she says, yeah, we know who they are. I said, you do? She said, oh, yeah. She says, we have a sister city relationship with Ngunga, Moldova, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She says, everybody over there knows that. And man, I'm telling you, I was shocked. I was like, really? And that's what made me think of, we really need to get some more representation, I guess, or somebody that can, no, you don't have to do it day after day after day, but just, you know, emails or Zoom meeting, 10 or 15 minute Zoom meeting or something. Just so, well, an example, when Michael and I first went into the meeting with the African nations is when we met the prince, who is from Ghana. And we got to meet with him, and we were all sitting there going, oh my God, you know, we didn't even know. We didn't know that there was people in Charlotte that were working with Ghana, you know, and we should be able to talk to each other and keep that avenue open so that we can see what everybody's doing. So I didn't know, I wanted to get some feedback from you guys as to what you thought about us having a person as the international ambassador for sister cities in Winston-Salem to stay in contact or reach out by email or Zoom or whatever to each one of our sister cities, just so we don't lose contact or we don't lose helping in an area where we're not even sure of or not aware of. Anybody have any feedback on that or any thoughts? Mr. Brown?
Yes. My thinking was, if we have as we have you as a chairperson, and we have a vice chair, that would be a good assignment for the vice chair to do. As far as reaching out and then working with you on the response from the other sister cities and being able to kind of implement whatever needs to happen. But if there's not one, certainly we do need to be in contact with them and get feedback from other sister cities so we can know how to collaborate and be able to work with them. So if it means we have to create another position to do that and appoint a position, then by all means. But I think first, the vice chair ought to be able to have that on his or her plate as an assignment.
Wendy, what are your thoughts?
Well, thank you for your suggestion. Yeah, I'm open for all suggestions, and I wasn't quite clear about what is like the responsibility on daily basis. According to the law, the vice chair is served when chair. Not on duty or something, but I'm happy to assist Dave to do work in many aspects. Currently, a lot of business or contact, right, that were created by Dave over the years. So many information, I guess, just go to you. If you would like to appoint me or appoint any of us, I mean, we have many people on the board to move on to next step. I think that's also the way to have things done. We have a different, like the sister cities representative. So as long, like you just mentioned about the city of Africa, right? So if we want to move on and have a sort of action plan, and I'm happy to work with you and work with a representative member in the board to have something like to continue. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, as you suggest, as international ambassador, that's a great idea too. The question is just like, are we going to post this kind of position to have a new person come in, or are we going to invite internal board member to be designated to have this role? What do you think?
Dave, I had a question, and I kind of agree with Wendy as well. I think it is a good idea. I know at one point, if my memory serves me correctly, we had representatives on the board that would serve, I guess that would be the board representative to each of our sister cities. So there may have been a person that volunteered to work with Kumasi, a person with, Shanghai, and so on and so forth. Is the international ambassador position to kind of take up the shortfall where we've kind of fallen short in those areas and having a point person take the lead for each of our sister cities? Or is that going to be in addition to our board representatives who will have also playing a role in contacting and building a relationship with each of those sister cities?
I guess the way I looked at it was, and Wendy's right, in a lot of the sister cities, they know Dave. Well, that's fine. I think they should know Michael. I think they should know Mr. Brown, Dr. Edward, yourself, Li Shang. And I think it's good that it's all inclusive, you know. The reason I thought of an international ambassador, maybe that's the wrong word, I don't know. But this would not be a quote unquote full-time position, if you would. You know, this is not like an everyday thing. This would be something that, you know, maybe the first 2 weeks you'd take two or three of the sister cities and just contact, just emails, maybe a quick Zoom meeting or something. Hey, we wanted to stay in contact with you. We haven't forgot you. Is there anything we can do? Are there any projects you'd like to talk about? What can we do to help you? And what can you do to help, you know, work with us as well? And that way, if you look at it over maybe a couple month period, we're staying, as it goes along, we're really staying in contact, and we're getting feedback. We're not getting enough feedback, I think, right now. And when that lady said that to me in work that night, I went, oh my God, you know, I did. I sat there and I thought, she knows more about Winston-Salem than I know about where she lives. And I thought, wow, it's kind of a shame, I guess, you know? So that's what made me think we need somebody that can not stay with them day after day after day. That would be a part-timer or a full-time position, which is something we're looking for down the line, but we can't afford to do that right now. But if we had somebody like Wendy, or if it could be Wendy and me, or Wendy and somebody else, doesn't matter. We could split it up. Just, you know, in a month's time or a couple months' time, you've touched everybody. And maybe what I was looking for as an example, like with Taryn. Taryn is the guy for the IT. He's the guy for the communications. So after we get the right people to talk to everywhere, then maybe on a monthly basis, when we've had our meetings or whatever, there's sort of a newsletter, if you will, that would go out via our website to all these different contacts in all the different sister cities. And then they can give us feedback. And I think we got to start somewhere. I'm not saying that we try to, you know, what is it? You know, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And that's all I'm saying, is just a little bit at a time. And then Mr. Brown, we've talked in committee meetings, he's the program person. This is the man who has the background, and he knows how to put specific programs together. So, I mean, if you're looking at like Michael, who's handling the finances and working all the different countries in Africa right now, and if you've got Wendy and let's say myself, Wendy and myself just kind of trying to find a point of contact in each sister city, and Dr. Ed, who has many, many contacts in Ghana, and that's probably one of our oldest sister cities, and we can find people to stay in contact there. And Taryn's beefing up our website and putting together some sort of communication that we could send out on a monthly basis to everybody, just like a quick newsletter. Hey, you know, sister cities, Winston-Salem Sister Cities speaks today, or speaking to you today, and just getting the little bits and pieces out.
Dave, can we combine these roles, what you're describing, what Wendy is describing, into a position of a vice president, as Olu proposed? So in that case, we have somebody, right, in the capacity who plays this role on a regular basis. So the person is probably, performing these functions of an international officer, but the person is the vice chair.
What I'm trying to do, Dr. Ed, is little by little by little, we're getting more and more people involved. Mm-hmm. It can't be just Dave all the time, or it can't be just Dr. Ed all the time, or Michael or Taryn all the time. But if we put together a program that we can basically reach out and touch all of our sister cities, and we don't have to, it's not an ongoing daily basis. I mean, you don't have to do it 24/7. Then everything comes together as a solid plan. Michael's finding out about everything to do by the African committees that are ongoing right now. Mm-hmm. You're keeping us up with Ghana. If Wendy is finding, if you say to Wendy, you need to talk to this prince, and Ghana as our quote unquote point of contact, and just, send him an email or say, hi, how are you? What can we do for you? Is there anything we can help you with? And then they come back and say, well, gee, if we had this program, well, Mr. Brown will be in contact with you, and let's see what we can do to bring it to the board to try to help you, okay? And then on a monthly basis, we have an email goes out to all of our sister cities, and it's from Tucker, and Taryn is saying, we've just made a relationship with a brand new sister city from Africa, or we've decided to work with this church in Winston-Salem, and this church is reaching out to all of our fellow members and fellowship in the Bahamas and Nassau and Grand Bahamas. In other words, little by little, we're touching everything. Whereas I don't think we're really touching anything right now. Maybe I'm wrong.
Dave, it seems to me that you're describing two different things. I mean, at one level, what you're describing is the role of the secretary, who should be communicating with the sister units. And then at another level, you're also proposing, or at least Wendy's proposing a new role. Somebody in the capacity of an international, international person.
I don't think I'm saying anything about a secretary. Secretary takes the board minutes.
And can also communicate with the sister cities.
Yeah, secretary can do the communication too. But I guess one of the issue we have for a period of time is like we're not work for sister cities. We all have our own job. Everybody is a contributor the time to do it. It's hard to put everything on one person's shoulder. But at the same time, if we want to have this organization become sort of active, it has to be based on the connection and relationship built up with our sister city. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of like what we originally proposed. The person, if the person is take the responsibility or appointed as a representative as one of our sister city, and then the person bring in the object, bring in the program to discuss with the group and seek the support and the help from the group of people. But still, this person should be the driving force to make things going on. And the related issue is also what Dave asked Michael to check is about the service term. So no matter how many years we're going to make service to the organization, and also include the representative. If the person would like to serve a term of 2 years or 3 years, 4 years, according to our bylaw, and then each person kind of make a plan of how it looks like in the next 2 or 3 years in the persons or in our sister cities, like kind of vision plan. Otherwise, I mean, I do not have a vision for Ghana. And then if you want me, like Ed said, if you want me to put connection with China, I can do that. But if we'll do some African project, then you will be the best person to do it.
Let me, can I jump in for a second?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the whole idea is you don't want to have just a lame duck vice president, right? Or vice chair. You want that vice chair to do something so that if something happened to Dave today or tomorrow or any one of us, that person has enough to pick up the sister city organization and keep it going as the vice chair, to be in the know of what's happening. Here's the other thing. Taryn made a very good point. Now, if you have that vice chair as the lead person overseeing the communication with all sister cities, then under that person, each individual member can represent a sister city that will report to that vice chair. That way, we all now go into Dave with one thing, and that person can oversee how the program is distributed throughout the different sister cities. That's my way, what I see. But you know, I mean, it's not fair to put it all on one person and say, hey, you contact everybody, you do everything. And to the other point was, you know, when you look at vision for a sister city, it's not vision for the region. It's not a vision so much of the region, but the vision of the people. So if you know, even if I wanted to represent China, for example, my question would be, how can I serve the people of China versus how can I serve the city in China? How can I serve the people? Because the people make the city. So we got to start looking at it from that perspective rather than looking at it from a regional or geographical standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's kind of a vision plan, need to be discussed among the team as well. But with the people's expertise and resource, it has to be narrowed down to look at what is the best way can be worked out. As I said, if you want the person who has no background information, no resource, no connection, doesn't matter at a people-to-people level, at a people-to-government level, and you want the person to work on this project, it's not doable.
I think Wendy and Olu are saying the same thing. I mean, whatever functions that you are describing, right? Olu is suggesting that, yes, we should have such a person, but the person should be a vice chair. That's all. So the person who will be playing this role, big or small, let's elevate the person and make him or her a vice chair. That's all. And I think that sounds good.
Well, but we have executive board, and that includes the chair, vice chair, a secretary, and the treasurer. That's the core group, and we also meet.
So, yes. So this can be the role of the vice chair.
No objection for that. And my point is that one of the original agenda is looking at each post, each position's responsibility, and also the term. That can be discussed in all. I mean, how many years you're supposed to do it, in what capacity you served for the organization. And I think it's too early just to say what person should do what.
I think what happened was, and the reason I brought this up,
I
really believe that we've lost our focus. because I can't tell you who the person is from Moldova. I can't tell you who the person is now from Buchanan City. I can't tell you who the person is from Kumasi, Ghana. I still have a contact from Shanghai. I have one contact in the Grand Bahamas, but I don't have anybody in Nassau. Okay? And I'm saying I, meaning sister cities. All I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to get somebody to handle all this stuff and put all that pressure on them. It's got nothing to do with pressure. It's totally the opposite. What I was saying was, if you want, Wendy and I can do it. It's not something that has to be done today. It could be done over the next few months. All I'm saying is, let's reach out and find out who the contacts are for each one of these sister cities. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, Chinese, it doesn't matter. If you look at Sister Cities International, when you're dealing with the folks there, you're dealing with people from Spain, from Africa, from the United States, from Mexico, from people from all over. So all I'm saying is we make a connection with each one of these sister cities. Then once we have that connection, heck, if any one of the group wants to reach out and talk to them, that's fine. If Lei Zhang says, hey, I want to work with that guy over there, by all means, please do. But we got to get more people involved. And what I was saying was, if we could do that, that's point number one. We get that started. Point number two, Michael's already working on the big coalition in Africa, and he's staying on top of that. Point number three, we need, you guys mentioned it, communication. That's Taryn. Taryn does the internet, and he's our group secretary. So if he can work on that and just put out a little one-pager every month that would go out to tell everybody what's happening in sister cities this month. And then when we have a project come in and somebody needs to put that project together to present to everybody, that's where somebody like Mr. Brown would come in, because he really knows how to put these projects together. Now, if I were to say, Wendy, call this person, get with that person, find out, get their project, do this, do that, that would be insane. That would be crazy. It wouldn't work. But I'm trying to get more people of our people involved rather than putting it all on one person.
Yeah. So,
and to be quite honest, I'm gonna be straight up. I know we're live, but I'm gonna be straight up. A lot of times I felt that Dave will handle it. And I want everybody else to get involved as they want to, because we're all volunteers. We don't get paid to do this. We do this because we love the city and we want to reach out to people around the world and help them.
Right. I respect one thing. Wendy made a point that, when, you want to know how long you're going to be in the position and what your assignment is, right? And I think the point that she's making is, we can't create an assignment along the way for a position that the person never committed to. Okay. For example, if she's the vice chair and she didn't know in the very beginning that this assignment would entail her, reaching out to different cities and coordinating the activities between different cities, I can see that because it wasn't foreknown that this is what she was going to do. Me personally,
put it into the bylaw.
You're right. Me personally, the way I
was invited to do the thing.
Hey guys, let me just say one thing. I'm not saying that it has to be Wendy. I'm not saying it has to be. Right. What I'm saying is, if somebody else wants to jump in there and help with that, all it is if one person saying, all I'm going to do is find out our 6 points of contact. That's all. Then we can send them emails or letters out once a month. Then, you know, maybe every other month we send them a note and say, hey, how you doing? How's everything going today?
I'm going to find out the point of contact for Buchanan City in Liberia. Okay. Yes, I'm going to do that. And that will bring one city to the table, the point of contact and their needs and what project needs to happen there. And then I can bring that to the group. Maybe, you know, a few others can do the same thing and we'll start to get this ball rolling. And eventually we'll put it all together.
Yes.
I mean, we're not going to be able to sit here tonight and say, hey, I'm going to take all of this and you're going to do all of that. But if each one of us pick up a little bit tonight, going forward, we can kind of work together and then form one head that we'll report to.
So if Dr. Ed can do Kumasi.
Yes, we already have a point of contact. We already have somebody in Kumasi.
Who is it?
You know, Michael.
Well, I don't know every city situation. Like I did a lot of international exchange. One of the key point is the contact person in both sides, given like a frequent constant change of personnel. And you think the person over there is working and then suddenly you find out, oh, okay, there's a new person. I think it is good with everyone, as long as they know that contact person would like to continue the, you know, relationship with us. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I can create a shared doc with everyone. You can just put down your name, your contact person, which city, and in that way, then Taryn can put it on our website or what.
That's exactly what I was
finalize this contact information.
Yeah.
Updated the contact information.
Well, and if we've got, like I said, if we've got a newsletter or something going out to these contacts every month, if they change or anything, we have a little blurb in there or something says, if for some reason you change contacts, please pass this along or have them send us, you know, their information. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying for somebody to do this every day for the next 6 months or no, I'm trying to take that away from having us do all of that work. But I'm trying to maintain that contact because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've really been keeping the contact correctly. That's just the way I feel.
And once we have the updated contact person over there and here, and of course it will be easier. The representative speak with them, bringing new information or share our information with them, and those kind of things then will be a much alive situation, you know, status.
Okay. Now, one thing I was thinking that I will do, or if we want to get together sometime before the next monthly meeting, is maybe go back over and say to everybody that's on the board, we didn't get a chance to talk about it tonight, when the next time we would change the board around, and then that may be a good point for rewriting, like you said, if you want, or whatever way you want to gear it from there. But first things first, if we just simply pick up 2 or 3 of the contacts, and if you could just make up a little, I don't know, a word form or whatever, and then we have the contacts, the emails and that, any one of us could send an email or send something. You know, I'm not saying that you're trying to pigeonhole somebody, but you know, our communication would get a lot better in a very short period of time. Yes, no?
Yes, and also it would be probably convenient if Taryn can create a sister city's email rather than our individual email. Yeah. So with a sister city, like the shared email and the shared password, as long as information coming, everybody can see it to avoid, you know, the gap of communication. Sometimes, information sent to the personal email and get lost. And, you know, with this shared one, at least it's also easy to track what being mentioned, what kind of inquiry we had, or or send out information on behalf of our organization. Use the same email. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
So
That's an awesome idea. That way, there's nothing hidden. Everybody would know what's coming in and what's going out.
Right.
I think right now we have a shared email. I think it comes in as an alias. If I'm correct, and I'll look it up, I believe it's members@winston-salemcitygovernment.org. And that basically forwards it to your personal email. So if someone was to send an email to that, if that was our public facing email address, it would then be dispersed to the entire board, but it does mask your individual private email. I'll have to look at it to see if it also is its own email box with its own password where it's also archiving those messages. But I believe right now it's either members@winston-salemcitygovernment.org or board@winston-salemcitygovernment.org. And I believe it will actually forward to each of our members of the board.
okay, well, let me round everything up. We do have enough to vote on everything this evening. Let me just bring this up. Does everyone agree that by the next board meeting, we'll try to reach out and have maybe a Word doc that would show who the contact people are and how to contact them. And, between all of us, maybe we can pick up 2 or 3 by the next board meeting, or if we can get all of them, that's fine. But if we can't, then we'll just do the best we can. Is everybody in favor of doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. And the next thing is, why don't we take a look at the bylaws and the different positions, and maybe if somebody doesn't want to be in that position, or they're afraid that it may be too much time taking, we can go from there. Eventually, all I'm trying to do is get everybody else involved. That's all I'm trying to do. Any last things that you want to talk about? Otherwise, it's time for us to not meet until next month, which would be, I think it's the same date in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes.
It's March
23rd.
23rd, yeah, same date. Wow, that's unusual. Thank you so much for everybody coming this evening. I feel like we really did something. Like we really made some progress. If there's anything I can do, last but not least, our good buddies, Dr. Sorsby from Grand Bahamas, and I'll send it on to you. The chess club is evidently just knocking it out of the ballpark. They're being looked at from all over the world now. And we were considered one of the very first sister cities to have them come here and play with one of our schools here and observe the North Carolina tournament. So I'll send that on to you. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you. Please stay healthy. Good night.
Take care.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.